I stand by that one of the best parts about car camping is eating outside, but it can also be intimidating. You don't want to be living off of granola bars and Uncrustables when you could have a nice restaurant style meal at the end of a strenuous hike or trail run or big fun hunt. So let's chat about how we can take your favorite meals and bring them outside. First order of business is to create a menu. For my last camping trip, I knew that I needed 3 dinners, 3 breakfasts, and 2 lunches. So from there I considered my limitations. Was there a burn ban? I thought yes, but actually no. So make sure you look that up beforehand. Are you gonna go on a hike super early in the morning? Because if so, you probably don't want to cook and clean up an elaborate breakfast. I then consider, what are some of my favorite stovetop meals? What's going to be the easiest to prep and pack? How am I gonna store the leftovers of this meal? Those are just like all very good questions to ask yourself when trying to figure out what you want to bring with you on your camping trip. So I ended up deciding on this menu, and I will link all of the recipes in the description because these all ended up being really great meals to bring camping. They translated really well to meal prepping and packing and being able to enjoy them outside. So we ended up leaving for our trip on a Friday, which means I meal prepped as much in advance of Friday as possible. So I think I started 3 days ahead of time prepping the things that were going to last the best in the fridge. So those are usually sauces, your spices, stuff like that. So in this case, I include the custard for the French toast and the sauces for my 2 main dinners. This is now 1 day out from the trip where I do the rest of my meal prep. And I keep saying meal prep, but this is more like food prepping. So you're getting as much of the prep work done ahead of time, so cooking is super easy at camp, but your meals are still fresh. So depending on what certain ingredients are added in the cooking process, you're just prepping and packing those. For this chow mein dish, which I'm working on right now, I chop all the veggies and store them together. And then I chop and store all the aromatics separately because these go in at different times during the cooking process. The breakfast sandwiches, I just slice the tofu and I'll cook this at camp in the morning. Fried tofu is super quick to make and tastes better fresh, so I'm just eliminating the need to bring a knife and a cutting board for this. But I am making a shiitake bacon ahead of time, which would be harder to do without an oven at camp. Okay, these lula kebabs ended up being the star of this camping trip. It was so easy to prep and they were really delicious and very comforting after a long day of activities. Unfortunately, Trader Joe's did not have the Mediterranean salad that I needed for this recipe, so I ended up just improvising and chopping up some tomatoes from the garden and some parsley and forming the lula kebabs with just a couple of simple ingredients, and it still turned out great. The day of, when I'm packing up my cooler in the car, I like to lay everything out and double check my recipes to make sure that I'm not forgetting anything, because I did indeed forget something on this trip. But yeah, that's why it's so important to check your list, because I don't know, I feel like with camping, you're prepping and packing so many different things and there's so many little things that you could just easily forget because your mind is filled with all the things you have to do. So just like, lists are your best friend. It's not just your food. Like, is there any kitchen equipment that you are going to need? Like, hopefully you've already done most of your chopping and stuff, but maybe you need to slice bread. The pots and pans that you're going to need, the serving utensils, stuff like that. So maybe you have a camping list of all the kitchen stuff that you need to bring with you for these particular meals, and that's gonna really help you when you're packing. So I hope this was helpful to you. Let me know if you make any of these recipes and enjoy them outside. Let me know if you'd like me to make more stuff like this, and maybe I'll catch you in another one. Bye.